Welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be looking at a small compact vehicle which is going to be the Toyota Aygo X, which starts at 16,150 euros with our variant. This is the Play variant with the smallest engine and also some other features that are going to cost you a little bit extra. It's going to cost you 19,280 euros. We're going to look at this car even though it's nothing special, but it's going to be a small compact vehicle, so some people might be interested in what it's capable of. Competitors for this is going to be an i10, for instance, from Hyundai, a Fiat 500, a Renault Twingo, or also the wonderful Kia Picanto. So let's first of all take a look under the hood, what we can get under there. Under the hood we have the smallest possible engine that you can get for the Toyota Aygo X, which is going to be the 1 liter 3-cylinder engine, which is going to produce 72 horsepower with 93 Newton meters of torque. It's only weighing in at around a ton. And one thing that's not so nice is that the 93 Newton meter, you get that at an RPM of 4,400, so it's going to be fairly high. And it's going to take you 15.6 seconds to get from 0 to 100. And with the longest road being that right there, we're not going to be able to launch this thing, but we are going to do a brake test here in a second. Yeah. Let's take a look at the design a little bit. First of all, the color that we have on here is a silver metallic, which is going to cost you 590 euros extra, which is a fairly hefty price in my opinion. In here we have an interesting design because none of it is symmetrical when it comes to the intakes. Down here we have real intakes, but on the side we have fake intakes. Same up here, real intakes, fake over. Okay, well, that's just screwed me because one little, oh actually no, the top three are actually real, so you do have real intakes there and the top three, but fake down there. So a little bit unsymmetrical, which is not the nicest. For the lights we also have halogen lights on the top, and we also have halogen lights on the bottom, which are going to be your fog lights. Those are not going to be standardly equipped on all of it. However, the car does have a fairly good safety rating, an NCAP form or norm of 78%, which is fairly good. Let's continue over to the side, where we can first of all see our 17-inch wheels, which are 175 and if I'm not totally mistaken 65. So they are fairly tiny wheels, but they do have disc brakes in the front. And they are going to be braking, or have a braking distance of 37.6 meters, which is fairly long. A Hyundai i10 only has around 35.6, if I'm not totally mistaken. On the side, we do also get keyless go, which comes with the Comfort Play package, which is going to give you keyless go and a bigger infotainment screen in the middle as well. However, it's going to cost you a little bit. Further on, we do also have tinted out windows in the back, but they are actually not automatically, well, they're not windows that slide down, but instead you have to press them from the inside. And we can also look at the quality a little bit. And you can definitely hear this. Listen to this. Not the best quality, but it is expected for such a price. You do also have a tank capacity of 35 liters and a WLTP claimed fuel usage of around 5.2 down to 4.8. We'll see that once we're driving, if that's actually doable. If we go further on to the back, we can see we do actually have a fairly high car. The car is 1.74 meters tall and also 3.70 meters wide, long, not wide, that would be insanely wide. So fairly compact when it comes to the size, but fairly high because it's the Aygo X, so a little bit more off-roady kind of thing. We do also have a very high loading height at 81 centimeters. In Nissan Juke, for instance, that we had is 78 centimeters, so this is fairly high. We can also see Aygo X on the back, which is fairly big. Design depends on do you like it or not. I'm not the biggest fan of it. And you can see here, again, we do have a fairly high load height and also a fairly big lip in here, so loading in here is not going to be the most comfortable thing. You can also see we have a very small boot in here at 231 liters, and if you flip over the seats, going up to 829 liters. If you take a look at, for instance, a wonderful Hyundai i10, that's going to have more boot capacity of almost 250 liters. So this is a fairly small boot. But let's actually go in the inside. In the inside, you actually get quite a good amount of room in the front. You can see we have quite a lot of leg room and headroom, which is actually fairly good. You have quite a lot of headroom in here. And the other thing that you get is a fairly easy to look at and easy to operate interior cabin. The buttons on the steering wheel are quite a lot, which are easy to use, and a lot of assistant feature, which we're going to look at once we're driving. And the steering wheel also feels fairly good in the hand with the Toyota logo on the wheel. We also have a little like iPad kind of screen in there, which is the only digital aspect that you get to your dial cluster in the front. And you also have a 7-inch display in the middle, which comes with the with the package that we have extra. That can also be used with Apple CarPlay via a USB cable or Android Auto. You also get heated seats, and You also get heated seats for the passenger and the driver. But one thing that you don't get for the passenger is seats that you can adjust in the height. You can only adjust them in the front and also the incline and decline, which is not the nicest. You get some storage space in here, 2 cup holders, which are not the biggest. The center console wiggles a lot, so build quality in there is not the greatest. Everything in here is basically plastic. You can see up here is plastic, down there is plastic, glove box, everything in there is plastic. And the other thing that is plastic is the side, your door, and you also get the door in there, like real door. So the actual door is on there as well, so there's no isolation in there. You just have plastic and the door in there. And you also get some windows for the side, or foldable windows, not foldable windows, I'll be saying like what? You get operated windows for the front and also on the, well, for the front. The back is actually not spacious at all, so it's adjusted to me, so 1.80 m or 6 or 5'11", and you can see I've basically no legroom in here. Also, foot room's not that much. And I would have actually expected a little bit more headroom due to the fact that the car is actually fairly big, but the seat or the bank in the middle or in the back is a little bit higher than the front, so therefore you're not going to have much headroom. And if you're over like 6'1" or 6'2", you're definitely going to hit your head on there. You can see quality-wise, we also on the side again have the actual door in there and also more plastic on the bottom, so door plastic, no isolation in there. You also have your child lock, which is, well, it's going to be easily adjustable for anybody. So if you have an IQ over 5, you're going to be able to know how to open this thing. So your kids are definitely going to be able to jump out the back while you're driving. Might be a good thing if you don't like your kids. We also have a window in here which is not automatically operatable, so you actually just have a small breathable hole in there, again to suffocate your kids if that's what you're up to. So you don't have that much playroom in there, and it's actually a little bit hard to close it as well. But yeah, seating quality wise in here, you don't have a middle seat, so you're not going to have anybody that's going to be able to sit in the middle. Also, that will not be very nice. You also have a seat quality which is not the greatest, a fairly flat seat and also flat back, which is going to allow you to have a fairly uncomfortable ride. Isofix points, however, are actually fairly easy to reach. They are plugged out fairly nicely. However, you're not going to be able to fit any big child seats in here due to the fact that you don't have much space for the front. So if you have 2 passengers in the front, you're gonna have to put in a very small child seat in here. Child seat. There we go. And we also have this little disinfection thing in here, which comes with Toyota. I don't know if that's always the case, but that's what our test vehicle has. You don't have any cupboard or any space where you can put anything in there, but that's basically it for the back. One thing that you do actually get in this car is a fairly good amount of safety features. For instance, we can see we do have a rear view camera, which is not the highest quality, but it does have one, which is nice. You do also have adaptive cruise control, you have lane assist, so you do actually have quite a good amount of safety features. You don't have blind spot assistance, which would be nice. You also get that warning, which basically tells you, okay, you got to brake around that corner. But for the price, you're getting quite a lot of safety features, which is a fairly good touch. You also have a fairly decent surrounding view. As you can see, it is actually fairly good. You have a fairly good visibility. One thing that's not so nice is the C-pillar back there is fairly big, so you're not going to be able to see very well out of there, which is a little bit unfortunate. But other than that, it's a fairly small car. With rear view camera, you're going to be fairly easily driving in the city, which is going to allow you to just have a comfortable parking and, well, parking abilities and stuff like that. Steering wheel also feels fairly decent in the hand. You can see that, okay, we're going up the hill now. We don't have well, because 4,400 Newton meters, that's where the full power is. So we definitely got to shift down now because it can't reach up here. So let's take a quick look at the fuel consumption. If we go in here, WLTP claims, like I said, 5.2 up to, what was it, 4.8? And we have had drives where we were at around 5 liters. Now we're at around 5.6. We did go a little bit sportier. That is a reason why also. But in general, you are able to have a fairly good consumption in this car, which is going to drive the cost of the car pretty far down. So you're not going to be having much of an operating cost when driving this car. Generally, the comfort in here is actually surprisingly well. The suspension here is actually decent. The isolation is obviously fairly decent until you get around a little bit higher, 100 kilometers plus. Then the isolation really does tell you, okay, I'm not there, I'm not going to help you out. I'm just going to completely yell at you from the outside. And you obviously don't have the power. The max Newton meters at 4,400 Newton meters, which is not that, or RPMs, which is not that great. So it's going to take a fair while to get up there. When you're driving over hills, it's going to take a fair decent amount until you actually get that full potential out of the engine, which is only 72 horsepower, so there's not going to be much in there. We do also have a little bit of a digital cockpit, which looks a little bit like an iPad or like an iPod. and you can go through there. You have your driver assistance in there, you have your audio, so your media stuff. You also have some other features or settings. You can do that where you can see all of your different settings or your safety features, and just in general some warning signals, which I might need a lot because I'm a shitty driver. You do also, again, like I said, have the infotainment display where you can have a lot of different stuff on there. You do have your map on there, for instance, which is which is not available on our system, so you can't have a navigation in here, I guess. But in general, ride quality here is actually fairly decent, so you do have some good capabilities of driving this daily and not having to worry about your back. So the competition has shrunk a little bit in the past year, so you don't have that much to choose from. You only have around 4 other cars that you can choose between the Toyota Aygo X. So it really is up to your personal preference and depends on, do you want more safety features or do you want more quality? Do you want a bigger, like a small SUV, or do you want a more compact vehicle for the city? That is all questions that you got to answer yourself. I can't not tell you everything. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.